What's up? I'm Diamond Kache, CEO and founder of Diamond Hearted.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Abilla, founder of Hustle Hard Global.
Okay, so let's get into this interview. This question is, what challenges have you faced while being in the sports industry as a Black woman?
I think in this day and age, especially being in the sports industry, which is very male dominated, it's
Hmm.
just really kind of finding your voice, being confident in your capabilities in the sports industry, confident in your work ethic, confident as far as
Right.
the things that you can produce. And I think oftentimes women, Black women in particularly, we get overlooked, where
Very much so.
we tend to kind of take the back seat and allow people to continue to talk while we kind of shy away from really being confident and putting our foot forward, knowing that, we have great ideas to bring to the table. We know exactly what it is that we're talking about and what we can produce. But just more so, I think it's just, kind of having that lack of confidence more so. So I know for myself personally, especially with me being somewhat of a shy person, just really kind of finding my voice. I'm in a male dominant industry, but over time, and especially talking with people that are in the sports industry that I look up to, just kind of giving me that boost of confidence, like, Ty, you got it. Everything that they're talking about, these ideas that they're bringing to the table are stuff that you have already thought about. So, technically you're ahead of the game, but just, really kind of finding that voice and knowing that, hey, I'm meant to be here. I'm here for a purpose. I have a seat at the table. So while I'm here, let me make use of it and let me get the most out of the situation. In addition to that, I mean, as far as finding that confidence or finding your voice, I think, the pay gap, people hate to talk about it. It's very kind of hush hush, but
Speak up.
being in the sports industry, male dominated industry, being Black, that pay gap is very real. And,
Hmm.
I think that's one of the difficulties, especially with working for a franchise, where that pay is not necessarily going to be there. So if you're not one of the top execs, CEO, directors, that pay gap is very far fetched from those that are maybe on a manager level who is
Most
doing the
definitely.
work day in and day out, really the people that are moving the company forward. So I think that's another challenge of area as far as where you're really trying to find out, hey, this is what I bring to the table. But then also I need to get the money that I deserve,
Hmm.
respect time, respect my effort, respect, what it is that I'm bringing to the table.
Respect my craft.
Yes, respect my craft. Let me get what I deserve, at the end of the day. So I think those are two challenges that I've found just working in the sports industry. And, all in all, been able to, really kind of find a way to work around that as far as, networking and building relationships with people in the industry.
Hmm.
So you can kind of know how to maneuver and know how to pivot. Pivoting is very key when it comes to terms into the sports industry, especially now that we're dealing with a pandemic.
Okay. So, what advice would you give to those seeking to be involved in the industry overall?
This is something that I've said in, one of my recent interviews, and just really keep going. Being in the sports industry, it's not easy. Like I said, it's male
Right.
dominated. People are very eager to wanting to get into the sports industry. You see people, there's a lot of favoritism, whether, my uncle knows this person or, this, that, and the third. But I just really say that, one of the things I would say is keep going. If this is a field that you are passionate about, you feel as though that you're led by purpose or driven by purpose, keep going in the sense that knowing that, you're meant to be here and that your time will come, you're going to flourish. And, I think it's important that, especially in the sports industry, that we see more representation from Black women there.
Definitely.
So I think that's just even more of a driving factor for me. Like, hey, I want to see more people like me in this area. So, I want to kind of bridge that gap. I want to show, women behind me, young girls, young women that, this can be done, and it happened because I kept going. I didn't give up.
Okay. So, how do you feel about the WNBA and their social injustice campaigns that they're running?
I love it. I can definitely speak to the Mystic side. I love what they're doing. I love that they're being vocal. And it's not one-sided. Collectively, as a unit, as a team, they've all come together to kind of say their piece, to use their platform. Natasha Cloud, obviously, you can see her all over the media, has been a very big advocate. And I think it's very much so needed. And I like that they are doing what they feel as though is right. They're speaking up. They're calling out, what needs to be called out. And, they're really using this time to make a difference, at the end of the day. And it shows you that it's much bigger than basketball. It's much bigger than basketball. And you can see that just as far as Natasha Cloud and her stance in deciding to not, participate in the season, which I know was a difficult decision to make. But, obviously thinking, when things come around, this could be one of our family members that could be affected by all that's going on, police brutality, injustice, and all of that. So bravo to the Mystics. I'm glad I could be a part of that family with them. And I'm very proud as far as our team and what they've done to decide to make sure that their platform is being used in the right way and making a difference.
Yes, yes, I totally agree with that. What is something that you wish to have known early in your career?
I think something that I wish I would have known early on is maybe the importance and how powerful networking is. Um,
Okay.
Especially being in the sports industry. And I think in most senses, but it's really about who you know. And I think it wasn't until after I graduated undergrad where it's just like, okay, I need to start going to these events. I need to start putting myself out there, stepping out of my comfort zone, meeting new people, introducing myself to others who I inspire, to be like, or people that I aspire to look up, send that email, make that phone call. So I think if I would have done that a little bit, I would have loved to have done that a little bit earlier. But I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, and I'm in the position where I am today because timing is everything.
Mm-hmm.
But that's definitely something that I would have taken into consideration much early on, knowing that I wanted to be in the sports industry for some time now.
Understood. Definitely. I'll take that into consideration as well. Learning how to network, but also build foundation relationships and make sure that they're genuine relationships and not something to just a give and take. And I took all of this from you, but I'm not giving you anything back. So I agree with that.
I'm all about building mutually beneficial relationships, and I try to do that in every aspect. As far as the people that I come in contact with, not only how can you benefit me, but what can I do on my end that's going to be beneficial to you as well. So I'm all for it, and I think at the end of the day, that speaks volumes in itself because that authenticity goes a long way.
Yes, definitely. So how do you see the sports industry transitioning after the pandemic?
It's crazy because I don't necessarily think things will truly go back to normal.
No.
Unfortunately. And, I think that's where it's a beautiful thing where kind of creatives can come together to try to think outside the box. And I think that's where digital media is really going to play a big factor in terms of the sports industry and making sure that things are being highlighted and projected. The unfortunate thing about it, being that we're in this pandemic, obviously the sports industry has taken a big hit. You're losing out on ticket sales, sponsorship, media ads, which are like top tier revenue generators for the sports
Mm-hmm.
industry. So, trying to find ways in which that revenue can be recuperated at some time, I think it's going to be a slow process. It's definitely not going to happen overnight. I don't necessarily think it's going to happen within the next year. But I think, again, that's just kind of an opportunity where I think creatives have an opportunity and a chance to really kind of take this, to their advantage and try to make their way into the sports industry because now, everything is digital. For me personally, I do marketing and events. So
Mm-hmm.
I had a transition from doing in-person events to now doing things virtually. So how can we still keep people engaged? How can we still keep them up to date with what's going on and interacting with our brand and our players on a
How can
virtual?
we continue to be innovative?
Exactly. Innovative, exactly. And it's already hard enough because a lot of people are working from home, so they may have their 9 to 5, and then we want to expect them to hop on, another Zoom call from 7 to 9 to interact and engage with us. At the end of the day, it's just like I'm zoomed out. I know they got to be zoomed out.
Over Zoom University. I'm over it.
So, that's one of the things, again, you're really trying to find that niche of cars, what's going to work. And I think it's going to be a continuous testing phase as far as how we can kind of get to a place where, things kind of recuperate and get better. But it's definitely going to take time for sure.
Definitely. So how do you balance personal and professional life?
That's a great question because
Okay.
feel like I'm still trying to figure out what that balance is like.
I think we all are.
You know, sometimes I say I don't necessarily think there is a such thing as balance, but then I also feel like obviously there's a need for the importance of having balance. I know, I want to say maybe 2 years ago, I experienced a burnout because I did not balance that personal and professional life. And
Okay.
I was very much so all about my business, professional work, 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 work. And I actually got sick. So it was at that point where I was just like, wow, like I burnt out, I overdid it. And from there, I started paying more attention to my mental and physical health and making sure that I did incorporate that me time
Hmm.
and what it is that I needed to do. You know, at the end of the day, you know, the work can't get done if I'm not here, you know. So, you know, making sure that I was taking care of my mind, body, and soul and incorporating working out, incorporating, you know, hey, I'm putting the laptop to a side, you know, for an hour or so, or hey, it can wait until tomorrow.
Hmm.
So nowadays, I'm more comfortable with saying, you know, no. Uh,
No.
and a lot of my friends, my sorority sisters know Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. is non-negotiable for me because I'm working out. So I've carved that time. That's kind of like my daily reminder, my daily me time that I have to
Hmm.
myself to make sure that, hey, I need this hour to myself to just kind of recuperate, take to myself, and, you know, just to really kind of, you know, regenerate and get everything together.
With that being said, what is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie is Love and Basketball. I know it's probably like, oh yeah, I should have known that, but I love that movie so much. But I love and Basketball. I think anything that's kind of sports related, and that's kind of fun and easygoing. But on Netflix, it's crazy. I've been watching a lot of those like wedding dating shows, and I'm low key a crybaby. So there's one, there's one in particular on Netflix. I can't even remember what it was called, but you know, pretty much they got engaged and married within a week. And what I liked about it, they kind of dove back into their personal life. So each couple had a testimony, and it was really pulling on my heartstrings. So it had me in tears. But for the most part, yeah, I've just been watching Netflix from time to time. I really don't watch TV as much. And if the TV is on, it's pretty much just background noise while I'm doing work. But as far as favorite movie all time, Love and Basketball. Um, Brown Sugar is definitely up there.
Yes.
One of my favorite movies. I'm just anything with love that's related. I love love, so I'm a sucker for
I
love. So
love love.
that
Yes.
with love and is meaningful. Black love in particular, I'm all for it.
All for it. All for it. So can you tell me more about Hustle Hard? What is Hustle Hard Global?
Yeah, so Hustle Hard Global is a nonprofit organization. I host basketball camps and tournaments in Kenya for underprivileged
Okay.
youth, and started in 2014, and it kind of transitioned over time. So in 2014, it actually started off as a for-profit company. So at
Okay.
that point in time, it was just like, you know, we're going to train, we're going to build our clientele, we're going to train student athletes from middle school, high school, collegiate level, those that are looking to go overseas or professional just across the board. And, you know, we're going to get paid, you know, and that was kind of the mindset in the beginning of 2014. But then in 2015, went to Kenya to host our first basketball camp
Mm-hmm.
and ended up serving and working with over 120 student athletes that first year. And
Wow.
it was at that moment where I realized I had a better understanding of what my purpose was. So following that event, I was like, this makes sense to be a nonprofit organization. Like I want us to focus our efforts on our international service. And then that's what I'm passionate about. So from there, we transitioned over to a nonprofit organization. And since then, we've been hosting, like I said, basketball camps and tournaments in Kenya and also sponsoring student athletes. So paying for their school tuition, paying for their uniform, their books,
Wow.
and then also just making sure that their families have the kind of the central needed items that they need, you know, just to kind of get by through day to day. So even with Kenya, you know, obviously the pandemic has been worldwide. You know, just even making sure that they're good during that time. So providing them with care packages when need be. So more so, it's just more so a giving back effort is something I'm very passionate about. Kenya is
I
home.
love that.
Yes, Kenya is home to me. So I wanted to make sure that I did my part in taking care of my family, because I do have family that live out there currently as well. So it's just more so me having fun, me just kind of having that giving nature, that spirit, wanting to give back and provide them with the opportunity that they may not necessarily had prior to that. So,
Hmm. So what was your brand development for Hustle Hard?
whew, man, brand development. I mean, I wish like I could send you a picture of the first logo from 2014 to like a logo now. But definitely transitioning over time, as I mentioned, we went from for-profit to nonprofit. So that in itself changed, what kind of our mission and vision, was as a company now, nonprofit organization. And, really just kind of changing with the times, changing with what, I thought what was more aligned with my purpose, and
Hmm.
just kind of following the direction with there. And I have someone, my graphic designer, her name is Simone Bryant, and I've been working with her, and she's been really able to kind of capture my vision, and putting it into the graphics and the artworks that I pushed out. So even much so kind of having like our primary Hustle Hard logo now, and now kind of transitioning that into like our secondary logo, which is more so used for our apparel line.
Okay.
So really just kind of making way and having fun with it. And I want to say I kind of started dabbling into apparel about a year ago now. So doing the t-shirts, the sweatsuits, the dad hats, wristbands, stuff like that. And she's like, wow, like people really like this stuff. Like, let me see, what I can do, be more serious and be more intentional about this to really kind of push that, because the apparel side of it, 100% of the proceeds from that goes directly to the initiatives as far as what I'm doing in Kenya. So this just allows
Wow.
for like another stream of income to go in towards the families and the kids that I work with there. So that's even more of a push as far as why I want to, continue to, collaborate and really kind of get this apparel line, kind of going in the right direction moving forward. So hoping to connect with the up and coming graphic designer, not graphic designer, fashion designer. So we
Okay.
kind of collaborate and work closely and both kind of, get our names out there, our brand out there, and, help them put on, again, being intentional, mutually beneficial, with one another so that we can kind of create and grow together.
Wow. I'm really proud of that mission and I love it. I'm supportive of it. I think it's great. And I think you should continue to do the work that you're doing. I think it's a great mission. And definitely something that I'm interested in. I'll purchase a shirt very soon. And I am definitely excited to hear more and to see the growth of Hustle Hard. I think it's a great impact that you'll have, not only um, in Kenya, but also here in the US. People may look at it and think of, wow, why didn't we think of that?
Mhm.
So definitely, I think that's a great way to go.
Thank you. And I appreciate the love and the support that you continuously, show Hustle Hard and myself. And it's so funny. I'm not even like lying. I'm just, yesterday I was on the phone. I was talking to my friend. Like I said, we were looking at the graphic, and I was telling her like, "Yo, like this girl is super dope. Like this graphic is super cool." And I was telling her about the time I brought the intern on, and I was just like, "Yo, if I had the money, like I would love to bring her on as a partner on my team so we can collaborate, because I really like and I see the potential as far as where you're going on the digital side of marketing, and I'm just like I need this. I need this. So, I'm definitely hopeful. We can connect offline, of course, that we can, kind of work on some projects together. But I'm very proud of you. I love what I see. I love what you're doing. You're being authentic, and it comes across very genuine. So I appreciate that always.
Thank you. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. What advice would you give to your younger self? Being that I'm younger than you or younger in the industry than you, I would like to know.
Authenticity. Authenticity is very big. And I think, at the end of the day, if you have good intentions with a pure heart, that's going to speak volumes when you walk into any room.
Yes,
It's going to
that's what
speak.
Diamond Hard it stands for. So I'm
See, look, um,
speaking gems.
yes, that's what it's all about. Honestly, you don't always have to be the smartest person in the room or have to be the best person in this particular area or field. But I think when it comes to relationships and building, people
Hmm.
want to know that they can trust you. People want to know that you have good intentions. People want to know that you're looking out for them for their best interests at heart. And I
Hmm.
think that over sees everything. I think that tops everything when it comes to, being in this particular industry and just working with people and building relationships. So authenticity, I think, is the key. And people can see
Okay.
that. People can see that at the end of the day. Because I mean, you can have great work and, all that, but if you don't have the right heart, the good intentions around it, like, people are not going to want to work with you. Because I look at myself, I'm very protective over Hustle Hard because that's my baby.
Yes.
So for me to just kind of let anybody in or on my team, that is stuff. You can have great work, but if I don't feel as though that I can trust you, or that you're being genuine, or you're really taking in consideration this piece of work or this
Hmm.
project that I'm so very much so passionate about and consideration and not really for it, then
Hmm.
I can't work with you. So I think at the end of the day, just really coming down to being authentic, being your true, genuine self. That's going to take you into rooms, lead you through doors that, other things that may not have been able to take you there. That's going to take you far.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And I do have one last question before we end our interview.
Let's go.
What are your non-negotiables as a businesswoman?
My non-negotiables. I think my non-negotiables as a businesswoman, my non-negotiables in terms of, building working relationships or relationships as a whole are kind of all similar. Um,
Hmm.
but I just want to make sure that, at the end of the day, I'm not overly spiritual, but I do have a relationship with God, and I want to make sure that, again, things are aligned. So I'm
Hmm.
very big on alignment and making sure that, everything that we're doing, it works and falls within our purpose. So that's something that I'm very mindful of. If I don't feel as though that our missions or kind of our thought process or where it is that we're going, if it's not aligned, then unfortunately, it might be great at the point in time, but it's just something that I can't do. So alignment is very big for me. That's, a
Very
non-negotiable
much so.
for me. And at the end of the day, I want to make sure that, relationships, business wise, we're not allowing our past to dictate where we're going or moving forward towards in the future. So, the past may happen, you may have your ups and your downs there, but as we move forward, as we approach, new things and trying to reach new goals, I want to make sure that that past stuff is not lingering on and coming into what it is that we have going on at this current point in time, as
Hmm.
to grow and progress. So that's another one for sure. And I think if I'm working with anybody as far as building a business relationship, like, just gotta have to be, outgoing and adventurous. Like, I love to work hard.
And
And
being
yeah,
open and being respectful.
exactly. I just want to be able to vibe with the people that I'm connected to. And I think that's really important. I think when it comes down to business, working relationships, business wise, even just friendship wise, relationships as a whole, just making sure that everything's connected, aligned, and it falls in line with your purpose. At the end of the day, I think it's kind of a full circle for me, where I think purpose and alignment takes care of everything else. So if those two are not intact, then I know everything else is just not going to fall into place as it should.
Well, thank you for that. I really appreciate that. And thank you for allowing me to interview you.
No problem. I appreciate you having this platform where I can share my story. I'm gonna talk a little bit about Hustle Hard, and I'm very proud of you, like I said. So I'm looking forward to more content, more work from you, and I'll be promoting, pushing it out, all of that. So yeah.
Thank you.